There's a quick walk around on the car that I've made a few videos on now. You can kind of get an idea of what we have. And I bought this car a couple of years ago, I think in 2017, with 52,000 miles on it. And it just turned over about 60,000. So I do put some miles on the car and I drive it a lot. And that was always my intention. When I got it, it was completely stock from one end to the other. And I always kind of knew what it was going to be and where I was going to go with it, which was probably like a mid 11-second car at some point. And we're working to get there. But here's what she looks like. Her body's really nice. Paint's pretty decent. It's not perfect. It's got swirls and stuff and scratches and dings. There's a big ding right there in the back of it. I'll have to deal with that someday. You can see the paint on the back, a little bit of tint on the window. I did do in the back a 255 Racetronix fuel pump. All bolted in, nothing was really changed for that. And I did a Racetronix Hotwire kit from the back to the front. That's a must for these cars. You have to do a Hotwire kit for the fuel pump. For the exhaust, I have the Race Pro Pypes 2.5-inch exhaust, free flow mufflers. It's pretty quiet, but it works good. You can see the paint on the side looks pretty good. I do have the 15x8 G-body parts replica aluminum wheels in the back with the brand new Mickey Thompson 275/60 Radial SS tires. I wish I could tell you they worked pretty good, but they don't. If I try to leave with anything 1 pound of boost, it just goes into a burnout. So I'm looking for some options there. I need to do some suspension. Car has completely stock suspension except for some new shocks in the front and back. Just replacement shocks. All the springs and control arms are stock. I'm going to get to the front wheels at some point. That's on my to-do list for the summer. I just haven't got around to getting them. I think they were on back order when I ordered the rears. So I have to check again and see if the fronts are available. I think they are. There's the inside of the car. You can see it's pretty clean. Hardtop car, power windows and locks. Have every original part to put this car back to original if I decide to. This car stays pretty clean. No one drives in it but me. I don't think anybody sat in that passenger seat except my wife a couple times. You see I have the gauges down here. There's an Autometer wideband and a ScanMaster G. I have the factory radio, but I got one that the guy added the Bluetooth to, or the AUX cable, so my phone plugs into there, so I get my radio. And I have kicker 6x9s in the back and kicker fronts, whatever size they are, and it sounds pretty good. You can see 60,344 miles. I think I put over 500 miles on it in the past couple weeks. Been driving a lot lately. Autometer Z series boost 35-pound gauge and fuel pressure gauge. Here's the view some of you are used to. Oh yeah, pretty clean interior. One of the coolest muscle cars ever made. I've had a 69 Chevelle with a 396. Actually, somebody took out and put a 454 crate motor in it. It's like 500 horsepower, tons of torque. And it was kind of cool, but it was just too old to drive every day and had no creature comforts at all. I did not enjoy that car. It was fun to step on it once in a while and do burnouts. It ran like 1240s. Pretty strong car, but it was not a Grand National. I've had 3 of these. I had a white Regal T that I built. It was a fully built car, and then I had another one of these cars that I acquired that was fully built. Champion heads, intake, fast, all that stuff. And I ended up taking everything out of it and putting an LS motor in it with a big giant turbo on it and a 4L80 and a Holly Dominator. And somebody bought that car off me before I ever even started it. I thought it was a good build. It really was nice. They sent me a check and they took the car, and then I went and bought a bone stock car to replace it. I said, I'm just going to make it exactly the way I think these cars should be. Mid 11s, maybe low 11s, stock motor, a lot of boost, a lot of fun, very reliable, cold air conditioned. Drive around all the time with the air blasting. Let's take a look under the hood. Okay, unfortunately it's not that clean under here right now just because I haven't focused on detailing the engine compartment that much. I usually just want to drive the car. But there's been times where it's been show car cleaned. Right now is not one of those times. But some of the mods starting from the back is I did have the trans taken out of it and all freshened up with new clutches and band, rebuilt front pump, band anchor pin and shift kit, CK Performance shift kit that I modified and kind of made the way I liked it. Has a deep aluminum Hughes pan. The converter in here, I work at a converter shop, so I kind of built what I thought I wanted for the car, which was a 10-inch converter. It's pretty tight. It stalls around 26 to 2700 with zero boost. And with 2 or 3 pounds, it's a good 3200 stall. And then if I really flash it with all the power, it should flash a little over 4000. So that's a true flash with tons of power thrown at it. But just driving around, it's like 3200, 3000 or lower. So everything from the plenum and throttle body all the way down to the oil pan are stock. I did take off the intake and the valve covers, and I did intake gaskets and cleaned everything and painted everything when I first got the car. It was a disgusting mess. Nobody ever cleaned the motor before, so I did take all that stuff out and paint everything. A couple weeks ago, I changed the valve springs in it, and they're similar to a Comp 981, which is about 95 pounds at the seat. So we can talk about that another time, but it's got valve spring upgrade. The ignition's all stock, but I have the RJC Russ Merritt wires. I think that's the guy's name. 8.5 millimeter MSD wires. These are the nicest wires you can get for a turbo wriggle. They're completely custom cut and made, and they real tight connections and good boots on them. I wouldn't put any other wire on these cars. For the rest of the fuel system, there's a Kerbin fuel pressure regulator. I have the EGR block off on there. My boost gauge is tied in where the EGR stuff was. I'll probably find a better home for that someday. It's got a billet vacuum block on it. I did do a conversion for the brakes. There's no longer a Power Master on the car. It failed, I think, 3 times, and the last time was really bad. It was on the highway, going fast, and that pedal locked up solid, and that was the end of that. I was a little worried about putting the vacuum brakes on it because I thought it would take away from the originality of the car, but man, I'll tell you what, I never even looked back. And I think it looks even cleaner than the Power Master that had switches and balls and wires all over the place. So I'm happy I did that, and I do it again. Everything else is stock under here. These are the major upgrades on the car. Number 1, Razor's Alky kit. So that's all part of the Razor Alky. There's a pump under the bumper. The turbo is a 6262. It's got the air-cooled front on it. It's a pretty nice turbo. Works good. And it has the precision stock location intercooler. It's the big stretched intercooler, and that works good. And then I have the 3-inch up pipe, 3-inch mass air pipe, stock mass air sensor, K&N filter. They're 60-pound injectors from Turbo Tweak, and they came with a matching chip, which I've done the chip a couple times over for different reasons. And that's it. Everything else is pretty stock. There's not a lot to talk about. Alky, turbo, intercooler, and fuel system. And that's what it takes to go fast in a Buick. Any questions, let me know.